Hello and welcome to the Total Mental Performance Podcast, the one and only mindset podcast dedicated to helping fitness entrepreneurs and coaches master their mindset, giving you insider access to industry leaders around their psychology, their campfire stories, and the mindset required to be successful in this business. I'm your host, Kyran, mental performance coach and founder of Total Mental Performance, the world's fastest growing specialist mindset service dedicated to the fitness industry. So without further ado, let's lean in and listen.
Yes, team. Another episode, another moment of your week you get to share with us. So thank you and welcome to the Total Mental Performance Podcast. Today we're going to talk about dealing with uncertainty, dealing with change, dealing with setbacks. Because as coaches, as entrepreneurs, it's really important that you're able to reprocess all of these, particularly with what might be coming up over the next few months. Here's the thing. Humans aren't wired to like change. We're not wired like that. As human beings, change represented danger. Change represented potentially death, fatality. You wouldn't want to change. But the thing is, as our environments have changed, the humans that get ahead are very, very adaptable. They're able to deal with different environments, deal with different markets, deal with whatever's happening in the world, and adapt and change. If you look at the animal kingdom, that is how humans have been able to adapt. They've been able to adapt their environments. They've been able to adapt their thinking, their behaviors, their processes. But they're not wired like that because it represents death, represents danger. And back in the jungle, we didn't want that. We wanted to keep things as safe as possible. So if you can rewire your mindset towards change, to embrace change, to expect change, that at the end of the day, change is the only guarantee. The only thing that we can guarantee is stuff is going to change. And then if you look at the human concept of time, time is the measurement of change. Time is what is happening and what's different from this moment to the next moment to the next moment to the next moment. So if you can expect change, and rewire your mind, it's instead of hating change, dragging our feet, but to own it, that is where you can really start to change the game. Bruce Lee, such an incredible quote I absolutely love. And he says, "Be like water." And he's directly quoting him. And I've memorized this, and I can't memorize many things. If you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. If you put water into a cup, becomes the cup. If you put water into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. It can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. What he's talking about is being adaptable to your environment, being able to change, to move, to grow, not be rigid. Because when you can be like that, you can be like water, you can completely change the game. When you think about water, there's so much it can do. If we think about a jet wash, can absolutely blow stains off the side of the pavement or dirt off of a wall. Think about a massive waterfall. Absolutely crash and destroy everything underneath it. Think about a river or a lake. It can host life. It can be still. Think about an ocean. The tides are always changing. If you can learn to be that adaptable with your clients, giving them what they need in the moment, your business, giving the market what it needs in that moment. In your marketing, what worked last week probably might not work this week. Things are changing so quick. If you can start to have that mindset, you can start to focus. Now, when there's a lot of change, particularly in business and coaching, just figure out the next step. Sometimes if you're overwhelmed and stressed and you're stuck in strong emotions make us stupid. But if you can understand, well, what's the next thing I need to do, and really focus and double down on that, that can be such a game changer versus zooming out and worrying about all the long-term impacts of everything. There's a lot happening, a lot of change, a lot of setbacks. Just focus on the next step. But it's important that you cultivate a belief that we always find a way. And if we can't find a way, that in itself lies the way. It's a great book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle is the Way. For me, I've got this belief that I'm always going to find a way no matter what. And that doesn't mean what I'm doing is going to be successful. It just means even if that's not successful, I back myself to find a way, regardless. If you can do that, and have that belief of I'm always going to find a way no matter what, that can completely change the game. Journaling is so important. So important. Particularly if you have a lot going on. Being able to take the pen and just write and write and write. And I recommend 3 A4 pages, even if you don't want to write the last 1 or 2 pages. It can just slow you down. Just get you back in control. Because your subconscious mind is traveling at such a speed. It's like the monkey mind. The animal part of us needs to be exercised. If we don't exercise it, we ignore it, it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why I'm such a big journaling fan. So here's a book that can completely change the game when it comes to dealing with change. It's called Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. It's 100 pages, really small text, which I absolutely love. Because when a book is too long, I really struggle to concentrate. But you could read this literally in one afternoon. And it talks about, gives you all the tools that you need in order to embrace that change. Start to understand that it's coming. So you can embrace it and learn to love change, or you can drag your feet. If you drag your feet, you're going to make things a lot harder. So I've just got a little journaling exercise for you here. And you might want to hit pause after I say this. What I want you to do is I want you to draw down a line, down a piece of paper, like a timeline. And I want you to think about 3 bad things that happened to you. 3 times a door was closed. Maybe you got fired. Maybe a partner walked out on you. Maybe a business didn't work out. And then I want you to write down what were the positives that came out of those things. What were the doors that opened off the back of that? For me, when I failed as a boxer and I lost my place on the England team and I realised that it wasn't going to pan out, my boxing career felt firmly shut. I was never interested in professional boxing and I'd expended everything that I had. On top of that, I had a business that had failed, so I was £15,000 in debt, eating disorder, boxing career finished. That door firmly shut. What door opened? Continuing a sales career in London, going in there, clearing off the debt, learning incredible skills about technology businesses and how they work and how they operate, and observing leadership, both fantastic leadership and really poor leadership. And that door shut. That door opened. You start to realize that, sure, it might hurt when a door's shut, but it always leads to something else. So now we're going to talk about the change acceptance cycle. So the first phase of that is there's some sort of loss. Something's changed. Maybe something's not working, whatever it is. That's where we have shock, disbelief. We think, fuck, did that really happen? Really? And you can't even respond. After that, we then go into denial or dismissal. We disconnect. Nah, that'll come around. Nah, this isn't really happening to me. It just can't be happening to me. No, not buying it. Then we have fear, anger, those strong, intense emotions, the things that make us go, fuck, why has this happened to me? What is going on? That anxiousness that can start to happen. Then we have sadness, the depressive. We start to just feel really low. We start beating ourselves up. And then it starts to get really, really hard. We start thinking, going through this again. What's the point? The next phase after that is bargaining, scrambling. It's, yeah, but maybe we can't go back to the old way. Yeah, but maybe if we change this about our relationship, this one thing, it'll make everything work. Please come back. And so we start trying to go back, try and get the thing that we thought we had. Finally, we have hope, commitment, but ultimately we have acceptance. It's accepting that it's not the same. When COVID happened, it was a big change. And you probably experienced a lot of these emotions. Oh my God, denial, this can't be real. It's not happening. Shock. Oh my God, we've gone into lockdown. Fear. Oh my God, what does that mean for me, my family, my business? Depressive. Oh, this is never going to change. What's the point? Life's different. Justifying. No, it's going to come back to normal next week. Yeah, it's going to be. And then it's acceptance. Fine. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do about this. And only then can we start to look at new ways. That's the next phase. It's new puzzles. How can we solve this? How can we move forward? And when you can get much quicker at moving through the change acceptance cycle, you can start to understand where you're at in those moments and just going, I've been through this acceptance cycle before and I've been through it again. And you've been through this many, many times. Whether that's breakups, businesses failing, losing jobs, whatever. You've been through this time again. So really it's about backing yourself for dealing with change. That's why I got you to do the exercise earlier, because you've dealt with change so many different times and you'll deal with it again. Getting really comfortable with understanding that change is the only guarantee. So let's talk about failure, the big F word. Well, it's only failure if you perceive it as failure. It's only failure if you decide it's a failure. But what if it's just data? Like a scientist. A scientist runs a series of experiments, looks at the data and proves or disproves their hypothesis. Imagine that. Imagine if you had that mindset for your life, your business, your relationships. When shit hits the fan, instead of going, fucking hell, oh, I've made a mistake, or oh, how's this happened to me? Or going, just data. Everything. It's not just numbers. How you feel, what you're sensing, what you're seeing. All of it's just data. All of it's an experiment there to be perceived. There's no such thing as failure. All it is, it's just feedback. It's just data. It's just a hypothesis, and you have proved or disproved your hypothesis. If you can start to work with that, that can completely change the game. And you just keep running experiments. So team, short, sharp, and easy this week. And I don't know who needed to hear this, but we need your help. And as many people as we can getting access to the Total Mental Performance podcast. If you could share this with your friends, if you could share this with your family, you could share this on your stories. Anyone else that you think would benefit from this, it would mean the absolute world. But from my side, over the next coming few months, we need to get really clear on, well, there's going to be a lot of change. And the rate of change is only going to speed up in this world. I don't think it's going to slow down. You can evolve your mindset to own that. That's what's going to keep you ahead. That's what's going to keep you sane. That's what's going to help you stay consistent versus getting stuck in the old world of, but things shouldn't change. So that's this episode for this week. Sending all the love in the world, and I will be with you next week.